When did you begin your coaching career, and what influenced you to pick the sport of lacrosse?
Started my coaching career while I was in college. Just wanted to come back after I got out of school and give back to my hometown. So I helped out with starting our middle school program at Hilliard. And that's just where I got hooked on coaching the game and learning more about the game from the coaching side of things to the player side of things.
Currently, you're the head coach and VP with the Machine. How has your experience been with them? And is this your dream job, or is there more?
I think for me, this is probably, this is great. I can't really ask for much more. I'm coaching a professional team in my hometown, and it does give me the leverage to help grow the game. The position I'm in does, help me grow the game at the ways that I envision that, needs to be done. So, I do have a great passion for the position I'm in.
What do you do in the off season? How do you prepare the team for the season to come?
In the off season, I think for us, it's always about preparing for the season. So, we're preparing for drafts. We're preparing for the supplemental draft, the college draft. Also, training camp, getting ready for training camp. But we do a lot of activities outside of just, the lacrosse team. We have to focus on our venue, our ticket sales, marketing, and then also our foundation and our coaches clinic, or coaches convention that we hold. So on December 5th, so that's a major thing that we put on our plate.
What is your favorite drill?
My favorite drill. I love build-up transition drills. I love those kind of drills. I think that you can incorporate so much into them, whether it's ground balls, and then it just a continuation of reading numbers, whether it's on the offense or defensive side of things. I enjoy those kind because they make players think while moving. I think you have to build up to that level of a drill, though. There's a lot of small parts that go into that, but that's always fun for me to coach.
Other than beating up your ops director, do you have any pregame superstition?
Not necessarily. I am probably pretty systematic, though, on game day. I always go to the same locker, but if you look at our locker room, I think everybody pretty much does that. If you look at every cafeteria, I think everybody kind of goes with their normal routine for the most part, where they sit, what they do. I don't particularly always do the same thing on game day, but I think my mindset really doesn't change much.
Do you and your teams have pregame rituals? And I think that's more like, is there something you do with every one of your teams throughout your coaching career? Pregame.
Oh, okay. Pregame as far as myself. No, you know what? I think the most important thing for me is just to always reassure and remind the guys that it is a game, and we talk about the opportunity a lot, to be able to play the game that we love, and not to lose perspective of that that could always be taken away at any moment, and just enjoy the moment, and play for each other. I think no matter what team I've coached, that that's always something that I want to make sure that we remind all of ourselves.
Do you have any go-to plays that you like to call in a, quote, must-score situation?
I don't think there's I think every situation kind of deserves a different play or a different scenario, and I think as long as we're making sure all the guys are on the same page, with what we want to go with. You can have that play drawn up and ready to go, but what we've found in the MLL defenses, throw a lot of junk at you, and it's just difficult because if you say we're going to definitely do this, and then you see a different defensive schematic, it automatically nullifies that play, and that's why I'm not necessarily always down with running one particular play.
After a big win, how do you celebrate and how does the team celebrate?
Well, no matter what, we always bring it in the locker room afterwards, and we talk about the game, to a degree. It's a lot easier to hand out, game balls to guys after a win. I think after a loss, no one really wants to take a take a game ball because they feel like we all earn that loss. But we also all earn wins, and it's sometimes equally difficult to hand out game balls in that scenario. But we do that, and then. I think there's always music in the locker room. After a win, it seems like the music's a little more upbeat. And then, but for the most part, that's it. I always like to spend time with family after the game because it seems like don't really get a chance to see them a lot leading up to the game. So after the game, it's good to spend time with them.
Looking back at your entire coaching career, what's your number one moment on the field?
Number one moment?
On the field.
As far as like coaching,
Yeah.
I feel like there's been so many quality moments, but I think it's probably for me just being able to coach my sons. I mean, I think that there's nothing better than that.
What's the most rewarding part of the job, and what's the most challenging part of the job?
Most rewarding for me is being able to coach with guys that I like, coach with assistant coaches that I respect and have good solid relationships with. I think also that being able to coach against the best coaches. Our league is filled with incredible coaches and the best players in the world, and I think that's it's both. It's the most rewarding and the most challenging part of coaching in the league.
What advice would you give young kids who are just starting to get into the field?
Of coaching or playing?
Both.
Both. Okay. I'd say young coaches, I would say as a young coach, some of the things that I really wanted to focus on was making sure that I respect the older coaches, learn from them, but at the same time not to fear them, to be able to coach against them with a level of respect, but at the same time, ready to be prepared to try to beat them. You have to beat them. But learn from them, pick their brains. Whether I still to this day feel like I learn something from every coach. I come across, I try to learn something. And once you feel like you know it all, that's when you stop growing, and that's when you start getting beat. In my mind. Young players, I would say the most important thing is never forget why you play the game. It is a game, and continue to just have that love for trying to be the best version of yourself when you have a stick in your hand, and be a great teammate, first. Worry about your stats last. If your teammates are playing well, it's probably you would like to think that you had a hand in that, whether it was a great defensive stand or big ground ball that you passed to them, and your stats will come. If you're unselfish, they'll eventually come to you. Just play for the game, not for necessarily the stat box.